Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the More Money Show comes in. If you're ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello, and welcome to this very special episode of the More Money Show. They're all special, but this one is really special because Carrie-Ann is back with us. Hi, Carrie-Ann.
Hi, Cassie. Hi, everyone.
And of course, I'm your host, Cassie Parks. And today we're talking about the important stuff. Carrie-Ann and I were just talking before about how this is important to share and what's going on. And this is going to be one of those interviews that shows behind the scenes of what really growth is like. And so I will say it ahead of time. Thank you, Carrie-Ann, for being courageous enough to share with us today.
My pleasure.
I'm excited.
Well, not really, but yes. Sorry. I thought about it for a minute. I'm like, no, it really wasn't pleasurable, but right? Yes, you're welcome. Oh my gosh. Already.
I know, right? Ooh, I knew it was going to be a fun afternoon.
For sure. It always is.
It always is. Well, I know. We'll get to this. But last week it wasn't as fun, right?
Yeah. Oh, no, it was not. Yes.
But before we dive into that, let's start with what's awesome.
Oh my gosh. So many wonderful things, even just today. So I'm going to kick it off with one of my colleagues thinks I'm 38 years old.
That's awesome.
I know.
Aren't you? I thought you were 38 too.
Right. Well, I am now. I'm taking that like 100%. So all day long I'm taking it. And I'm also sharing it because if I'm 38 years old, everyone else around me, their age has gone down substantially as well. So, so I'm spreading the love there.
I love it.
And then I just found out today before I left for work that a couple of my colleagues, I work in a garage, and that they're going to actually look at my car next weekend, next week to help me get my brakes fixed.
Yay!
So yeah, so remember that huge bill way back? It was like $2,700. Yeah, so now they're going to take a look at my car next week, and then we'll order parts and then go from there. So I'm super excited for that.
Yay! I don't even think we might have to go a little more into that story because I don't think we told that story in an interview.
Oh, maybe not. Yeah, maybe not. No, it was in the Enchanted Circle, I think.
It was, yeah. So we have to circle back and just hit on
okay.
But I do want to share what else is awesome and
I know.
figure out how else your future self showed up.
So on the awesome vein, it's a long weekend for us coming up here in Canada. So awesome. Monday we're off. So that's like totally awesome. Who doesn't want an extra day off? But the other really cool thing is I'm volunteering at a fundraiser for my favorite animal shelter. They're having a walkathon, so I will be at the registration table, but my husband's coming with me this time, so I'm so excited that he's going to come and share in that with me. Yeah, so Saturday morning, that's how we're going to kick off our weekend, so I'm super excited about that. And my future self, you know what, she's just really supporting me in taking care of myself and my well-being. I'm making the appointments I need to make to, get myself to feel better and reach out to the people that can help me do that. So I'm super happy. I'm really excited because all of that allows me to then, go ahead and do some of the things I really love to do, like, walking around the lake or, getting a good night's sleep or just, I love being out in nature. So being able to do that is really just going to help further, my mental state and really, being able to connect with my future self because I really love being in that space. So, so that's how my future self is showing up lately.
I love it. That's so exciting. I totally want to talk about the space between. Well, we'll come back to the car at the end, but because I want to tell that, I want to fill everybody in because it was such an amazing story.
Yes.
We haven't talked about, but before we do that, let's go through and talk about the space between your last year of growth interview and now.
Yeah. So my last interview was in March. And at that point I had been, maybe 6 weeks or a couple months, I can't remember exactly. I'd been sort of in a, in a holding pattern, like, things just weren't working out. I felt like I was, I hit a brick wall. I had manifested all these wonderful things, and then I just sort of, stopped dead in my tracks. But then shortly after that, at the time of the interview, I also felt like I had turned the corner. Things are going really well. And, I was back on track and really feeling, the vibe and moving forward. But then last Wednesday, you and I were supposed to do this interview,
Mm-hmm.
and we had to reschedule because I was not anywhere different than I was back in March.
Yeah.
So I was in the exact same place, but I had been there for much, much longer.
Mm-hmm. And what you mean by that, I just want to clarify this, is
Yeah.
things had gotten better, but then it had sort of gone
Yeah.
back to that.
I just went right back to where I was after I manifested big and sort of, felt like I dropped into this deep, dark hole. I'd come out and then I went right back in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we'll
Yeah.
talk about it a little bit later. I want to ask another question first. We'll talk about that because that is more common for manifesting than I think people realize, is that, we expect sometimes that is part of the growth. And sometimes we'll talk about some of the things that went on that maybe could have shortened that, but it's not all that uncommon. It's just kind of learning to ride that wave. But, this is so interesting. And I love how open and honest and courageous you are, because you brought this up. So I want you to share with everybody what I said to you last week.
Oh my God.
Which I love. Okay. You can laugh about now because I doubt you thought it was funny then.
Oh, totally. Totally. So we'd had, a separate coaching conversation prior to last week. And, you sort of sorted me out and we talked about some things for me to do. And I did some of them and most of them I didn't do. So I just sort of, blah, whatever. And then when it came to the interview last Wednesday, and you're like, what do you want to talk about? I'm like, I really don't have anything to talk about. So that sparked the conversation. And then at one point you said to me, I may not be able to keep taking your money because nothing is happening. You're not moving forward. So I'm here to support you, but you're not moving forward. So I wasn't doing the work. I wasn't showing up. I wasn't being present. And this is a two-way street when you're in coaching. You can't make me do something, and I can't have, you're not going to change my entire life just on your own. Right? Like, yeah. Come on, Cassie. Like, again,
I know, where's a magic, but
where is it? Right? So it was a hard truth to, sort of hear that, oh, right. It just really highlighted how I had sort of just let it go. Like I just let myself slide without really trying to stop it. I had been in that space, for a couple of months and then a couple more months. So by that point, it became my new normal, right? Being in that space and being uncomfortable was my new normal. And then, as we were having that conversation, you asked me some other questions and I really didn't know how to answer most of them because I just didn't have the knowledge or the awareness. But we came up with a mantra, which I'm absolutely in love with. And it's, sorry, now it's escaping me. I choose me and move forward. So that was so powerful for me in that moment because all of this is tied to my worthiness, whether or not I believe that I'm worthy or that I think I'm worthy or that I know I'm worthy of manifesting really big things and having the life that I want. And that really resonated strongly because that's exactly what it is. It's all tied to my worthiness. So, when I say that I choose me, it feels like I'm claiming my worthiness.
Yeah.
Right? Like I am saying to the world, I am worthy because I choose me. I choose me above all the other crap that's out there that's, going through my brain.
Mm-hmm.
And telling my brain to move forward is simply that. It is just instructing my brain, let's move forward. Let's keep rolling here. Let's not stand still in the muck. We need to move forward to get out of it.
Yes.
So it's very powerful. And then my exercise or my assignment was to say it 100 times a day and to post in Kajabi that I had done it.
Mm-hmm.
So I will tell you, I haven't shared this with you, but that Wednesday night was just such a horrible night because so many things were coming, into my brain that were not true, but it's old story
Right.
sort of repeating itself. And you had asked me to go back and listen to Change Your Money Story. And the first episode was to, just be aware of when you're saying, when these things are
Mm-hmm.
coming. And I'm telling you, all night, I really felt like my brain was like, oh yeah, you want to be aware? I'm going to give you awareness. And because it was just rapid firing, all of these things. I'm like, oh, just take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And just let it come, because like I'm telling you, if I didn't have the strength to get through Wednesday, I totally would have said, you know what, I'm done. I'm done because I can't do this anymore. But I knew it. I knew from past experience, gratefully, albeit begrudgingly,
Right.
that this too would pass. But I'm telling you, it was really like, what is going on here? My brain is just rebelling. And I'm like, no, I'm just going to let you tire yourself out, and I'm going to focus on I choose me and move forward. And Thursday was a completely different day. It was a completely different day. Yeah.
I love that. And
Yeah.
there's so many pieces that are amazing. And so I'm pretty sure I know what was getting rapid fired through your head. It was a bunch of stuff about not being worthy, right?
Sure.
Yeah. And I just want to clarify that for people listening when I know what I know what's happening because I've seen it, right?
Yeah.
In personal experience. But and that can right? Because you made that commitment, right? It's that commitment that made your brain go, really? Right? And you were like, yeah, I'm going to do it. Because when you said, that was the first time in a couple months when I have said, do this, and you've been 100% committed to doing it, right? Yeah. Like, it's always like, oh yeah, okay, I'll do that.
Listen, I will 100% own that I've been a bad client. Totally. I've been less than cooperative. Totally.
And that's okay. Like that. And what I love about being a coach, as I'll call it seasoned as I am now, is I know that, like, I know what's happening. I know that, like, okay, we might have to have a come to reality meeting about, and I was serious. I was seriously in this space. It wasn't anything but seriously, I care about you. And if you're not going to do it, I can't take your money. I'm not okay taking your money if you're not going to do the work. Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not who I am. And so in that moment, like, that's serious. And I know that when we have that serious conversation, you're going to make a decision. And I had to be okay with whatever your decision was. Right. I'm really glad it was to choose you and move forward.
Me too.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But as a coach, I had to be okay with, I got to follow through with this. And so I'm going to say it. But I know when you made that decision, because you did make the decision from that place, and you made it clearly like, okay, yep, you're right. I'm going to choose you. I'm going to choose me, and I'm going to move forward. And I'm going to tell you when I've said it 100 times. And so, yeah, I'm not surprised that your brain started throwing up all this stuff, because you really, I wouldn't say you just turned a corner. Like, you took a leap, you leaped over the muck, right? It's going to, it's a whole new place.
It is a whole new place. And where I was Wednesday was really, I think, because it was so intense, and it was so acute, like it was in such a small period of time, because I can't remember, we got off the phone. I did, a couple of things that I was, that you'd asked me to do. And then as soon as I went back into the living room, like, boom, it was like instant, it was on. And I'm like, oh, and until I went to bed. So it was only a few hours, but it was really just such a place that I was like, typically it's over, a couple of days or maybe a couple of weeks, but this was like all in one shot. And I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Somebody save me here. And I'm like, no, just move, let it flow through you, because at the end of it, I know it's all good. And I know there's learning on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that you did that, because
Yeah.
some people turn back at that moment. It really is like, from a growth standpoint, it's the place where you leap forward or you go backwards.
Yeah.
There are certain moments that happen. And so I'm really glad that you chose to move
Yeah.
forward.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And I want to talk a little bit more about worthiness, because that is really, and I think we had coached a little bit on that and it came out in the conversation, and that's what it is. And for everybody that looks different, how that shows up, right? Like, but it
Yes.
is like being, and the thing that you did, and I think you get this, and I want to make sure everybody hears it, is when you said, I choose me and move forward. Like, and you actually did mention it in the beginning of the interview. You're saying, I'm worthy.
Yes.
I'm worthy. I'm worthy. I'm worthy. I'm worthy. And until we own that, then we're not worthy. Like, there's only two choices, which is kind of crappy.
because in my sense of worthiness, and you and I talked about it, is I felt like I had hit the ceiling, that there wasn't going to be any more for me, that what I had done was what I was going to get. And that's a theme that has been through my life, so it doesn't surprise me that that's what really tripped me up this time.
Yeah.
But to challenge that and to say, no, I am worthy, I do choose me, instead of past experience, what other people have told me, none of that matters, because I choose me.
Yes.
It's my decision to choose me. And that it gave me that power. It gave me that relief, that I felt so many times. And it's funny because, I wrote it on the inside of my left arm. It's on my phone.
Love it. You
I
sent
know.
me a picture and I was like,
I know. I'm like,
if you could have seen my reaction of that message, it was just,
yeah. It was just a good visual reminder. And I didn't put it on my right hand because I'm right-handed, so I would see it all the time, and I felt like it would lose its not value, but when I just sort of happened to glance down and see it, that's when I really felt like, yeah, I do choose me. I love this. But then it's kind of, I'm having fun with it too, because I'm in the car, I'm saying it different ways, I'm putting emphasis on different words, like, yeah, I choose me, or I choose me, and I move forward. Like, I'm just in the car talking and just having so much fun. And the other thing I did was, when I was standing in front of the mirror in the bathroom, I looked at myself straight in the eyes and said, I choose me. Very powerful.
Yes.
I didn't say it 100 times,
right.
But I said it until that sort of, like when you do that when you do that mirror work, it's so like overwhelming, and you feel this, it's not anxiety, but your sort of heart just comes up. Yeah. So I did it until I sort of felt okay, and I felt peaceful, and I felt like, okay, this is good. I do choose me. Okay. It was kind of like a no-brainer, right? So I'm practicing kind of different ways, and then when I'm knitting, like, every stitch I'm doing, I choose me and move forward. I choose. So some of it is, I'm very aware when I do it, and sometimes it's just something that's that I'm repeating in my head. And I think either way is fantastic, because if I don't have to think about it and it just pops into my head, that means it's sticking. It's taking hold. I don't have to make an effort to say, oh, I better do that. Oh, I better write in Kajabi. Sometimes like last night I forgot. I think I did it at 2:00 in the morning. I'm like, oh, boy, I forgot to write that I did it. I know. I didn't do it at 2:00 in the morning. Right? Like, no, I did it much earlier. I just forgot, because I do it and then I move on.
Yes, right? Yes. I love that. And tell me what it means for you, because I kind of like hearing my client stories of this, like that I say, then tell me that you did it.
At first it was, again, because I love my checklists, I love my things to do.
Yes.
I know. It was just as simple, because you said just put in Kajabi, I did it. So that's what I was doing. I did it. I did it. I did it. But then it, like I said, like I was just forgetting to put it in Kajabi because I didn't need that accountability anymore.
Right.
I didn't need to say to you, look, Cassie, I'm doing it. Like, gee, you
Right.
asked me to do it. I'm doing it. Frig.
Right. You're like, I am doing
I know I'm doing it. She's so not going to believe me. I did it. And then so now it's just I'm doing it, and then I just move on. So the accountability at first is really important for me, and then after that, once it becomes ingrained or part of my person, I'll still put it in there, but I don't feel that, oh, I got that duty. Oh, I have to tell Cassie I did it, because it's just becoming a natural part of my everyday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And so talk a little bit, because we did talk, we have talked about, like, we just gave you a mantra 100 times a day, and then going back to basics with your story.
Oh, your light went out.
It definitely just went out.
Oh my gosh. Of course it did.
Of course it did. That's funny.
Oh my God, I'm dying. Sorry.
It's so funny for those of you, because people are mostly probably listening audio. Like we're recording these for video as well, and the light just went out, so it's totally black.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm sorry.
It's good.
I forgot your question.
Okay. My question was, we talked about going back to basics and like just getting in the space and catching that story, because you had created this new version of a story, which wasn't an old story, but it was about that ceiling. It was about how I can't move forward. It was about all those things.
Yeah, I've been working with you now. It'll be a year in June. And then I had done some work with Jenny prior to that. So, it's been like about a year and a half where I've been, working with law of attraction. So, when I got into this place, I totally just didn't even think about the basic things I learned when I started this journey. And one of the basic things I'm talking about is, in the Change Your Money story, it's being aware of the stories we're telling that we don't want to be true, or the stories that we don't want to tell. And, there's all kinds of other things like, looking for evidence around you, stop feeding that energy and start a new story. Like all these things that I had already learned and had used them effectively when I learned them, I just I didn't think to call on that. I didn't think to say, okay, here I am. What are some of the things I know I can do to help me flow through this period? So I wanted to mention the basics today because, being aware of the stories I'm telling that I don't want to tell really helped me, because I caught myself a few times last week and even this week. And as I'm saying it, I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you saying this? Like this, stop it. Like I can hear in my head, like, stop talking. Just stop talking right now, because this is not what you want to be true. This is not what you want to put out to the universe. So, that's something I could have used, back when this whole thing was starting. So, so even people that, are practicing law of attraction for quite some time, and I will reference Michelle's podcast I listened to today, and I just absolutely loved how honest and raw she was. She's been doing this for a long time, and she still found herself in that space.
Yeah.
Because we're human.
Right.
We are
Yeah.
human, having a human experience. So
Mhm.
when you're, eyeballs and alligators, you're not thinking about, oh, well, what's some of the basic things I learned that helped me get out of this?
Mhm.
But they truly are things that can help you.
Right. Yes.
So, so if someone is in it or on the verge of it, think back to those basics. What resonated with you, back when you first learned them? But definitely my favorite one right now, and the one that really, gave me the support I needed, was, bringing that awareness to the things I was saying that I didn't want to say.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is important to note for Carrie-Ann. Like you and I remember saying this to you last week. I said, you are the best at catching those old stories, but you have not been catching your current. And I think it's because it's a lot of reasons, right? This is a normal ebb and flow. And there is this thing about growing. And sometimes we get in this place where we're not sure we want it, right? We're not sure, or we need to deal with something like worthiness, right?
Yeah.
um it happens as we grow. It can happen. It doesn't always have to happen, but it does happen to a certain amount of us, right? And as we just get in that place, and what I reminded you, I said, you're the best at catching stories, but you didn't realize you haven't been telling an old story, but you created a new story that wasn't supportive of what you wanted, and you just kept telling it
Yeah.
week after week, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
day after day, like,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then even at work, like, I'm talking to my colleagues and I'm like, oh, this is not the exchange I want to have.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But, there I am jumping into that pool and just, swimming in it. And it's like, this
Mm.
is not, this is not where I want to be. So,
Yes.
so now, I'm sort of, and like, even just going to, it's funny because I remember just going to the bank last week, and the teller was asking me, so how are you doing? And, my natural response is, I'm doing great. Thanks
Mm-hmm.
for asking. How are you? And it was like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is not the person I want to be. This is not my future self. This is not me stepping into my future self. This is not me being the person with the life I want.
Right. Yeah.
So it's got to stop. So just stop it and
Mm-hmm.
start saying the things you do want to be true. So I'm doing really well today. I had a great day. I'm doing great. I'm smiling. I'm laughing with my colleagues. So there's already been that huge shift from that, I'm stuck in this place, therefore everyone else has to feel that, and to, like, you know what? No, I'm doing really well. Things are great. I'm feeling great. And that's what I want to share.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love that you said that, because it doesn't take long. It doesn't take long either way. Like when you let yourself get stuck in the mud, or like you said, when you jump in the pool and you swim around in that stuff,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't take long for which, then I have this visual of like it getting on you, and
Yeah.
it's on you. Like it doesn't take
Yeah.
long to get covered in it, right?
Yeah.
But it's
Totally.
also when you make the choice to get out of it, it doesn't ever take as long as we think it's going to change. Like things can literally change. I mean, it was like 12 hours till you woke up Thursday morning. It was different, right? Or maybe
Yes.
less, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's making that choice. And that's something,
Mhm.
you've said a lot to me lately is, you have to make a choice. It's always a choice.
Mhm.
If I wanted to stay there, fine, stay there. If I
Yeah.
want to move forward, fine, move forward, but make a choice.
Yes.
And, I chose to, you know, get out of the pool,
Yes.
be a little cold, and get my towel and wrap myself up and be nice and cozy and warm, because that's where I want to be.
Mhm.
And that's where my growth is going to continue. And for me, like, my theme now is to be, is to step
Yes.
into the beingness, and to, be the person that has the things that I want.
Mhm.
So that's where my growing is right now. And this, was a vital part of it. And, again, like I always say, like, I'm, I'm grateful now for it, but, oh, it's just one of those things that, I could have done without,
Right?
like, wasn't there like a Coles note I could have read, or
Right.
like a Wikipedia page you could have sent me? Like, did I actually have to live through this up and down, and then now up again, like sort of
Yeah.
leveling off,
Mm-hmm.
because I had conversations with my husband. I'm like, I don't know where I want to do. It's just, and having made the choice and now seeing that, I had it in me the whole time to get myself out of where I was.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm, as I said, I'm a human being having a human experience. I just sort of, dropped the ball. I'm like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then now that, we're having conversations about my worthiness and really feeling that shift, it's important that I went through this.
Yeah.
It was important for my growth to
Mm-hmm.
see that, you know, my worthiness was what was in play here,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm claiming it because it is mine.
Yes. I love that. And as a coach, I've been waiting for this moment, right? So I knew it was a worthiness thing, but
Yeah.
we can't always just come. If I would have said to you 2 months ago, like, Carrie-Ann, just decide you're worthy, right? It
Mm,
wouldn't have, it really, our worthiness has to be our own decision. There's not a lot of ways that I've found. Like, I can give you tools and tricks. I can teach you, there's lots of appreciation exercises, there's different things. But when we're making the choice to say, I am worthy of this life I want, of that life you scripted, is really what it comes down to, right?
yeah.
It's, you got this vision of what might be possible, but you still have to be worthy of that. And so as a coach, I love that we got to this moment, because I knew you had to make a decision. And I kind of have tried and poked in there a couple of times over the last couple of months. And
Oh, yeah.
right? It's like, curtain up. Not the time to, you know what I mean?
Have my people call your people.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I love
Don't
that.
worry about it. I know. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's like, no,
Nope.
right?
It's all right. Yep. Yeah. And the other thing, I mean, it has to come from me, because
Yeah.
otherwise I'm living my life based on other people's feedback.
Right? Say more
Now,
about this.
okay, so it's really nice to hear. You did a really good job today, or I really like how you do that. All those compliments feel really good, but they're
Mm-hmm.
coming externally.
Mm-hmm.
So when the external people are gone, they're no longer around, I'm left with me.
Yep.
So, and if I can't tell myself that I am worthy, then uh, I'm always going to be in that place where I'm hoping other people will see my worthiness and tell me that I'm worthy,
Mm-hmm.
which is nice, and I appreciate getting that feedback, but I have to be able to do that for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because when all the people are gone at the end of the day, when I lay my head down on my pillow, it's just me. It's not anyone else.
Yeah.
So I have to lay my head down and say, you know what, you are worthy. You are worthy today, you're worthy tomorrow, you're worthy in 10 years from now, 100 years from now, you are worthy. So that's the space I'm in right now. And it's so new.
Yeah.
It's so new that it still feels like, oh, it's like a new toy.
Yes. Right?
It's like a new toy. I'm trying it on and doing different things with it. So I want to nurture it and I want to support it. I want to do everything I need to do to make that part of who I am and make that, part of the person I need to be, to have the life I want.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely, this is a prime opportunity. I'm going to talk about the novella that I wrote called Choose Me. Um, which Carrie-Ann is getting. It's like,
Oh
Michelle's
my
working
God.
on it. I told her, I was like, we need this up in a week. I told
Oh my
Carrie-Ann
gosh.
it's up in a week.
Oh.
Because Carrie-Ann wants a print copy, because I said if you haven't read it, you have to, you have to read it, because this is the theme of that book, right? Is very much this lesson about how do we choose ourselves, and what does that look like, and how do we honor ourselves in story form, which is fun because it's,
Yeah.
got a guy and a girl and some other fun characters. And so, but yeah, like if you haven't read my novella Choose Me, and this is something that's resonating with you, definitely go to Amazon, and there's more than one book called Choose Me, so choose the one with the shoes and buy me.
Choose Cassie.
Choose me. Yeah, and also own it ties into this as well.
Well, and how perfect is that? Because when
Right,
I say I choose me, I claim my worthiness. I'm owning it. So, oh my gosh, Cassie.
I know, but I love how this like
is
all comes together, right?
wow.
Yeah,
Like blow my mind.
I know. It blows I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, right? Like I had visions of this when I wrote Choose Me, and then I knew like own it, but to have it come up so close and to be in
Yeah.
this moment is just so cool.
And I know absolutely, because it's like the stars aligned, like everything's aligning.
Yes, absolutely,
Oh,
right?
I love it. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
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 Cool. So I know you're working on the worthiness. Anything else that you want to highlight or say today?
Um I think it's there's so many things I want to say.
You can say them all.
Well, I really wanted to point out that, no matter where you are on your LOA journey,
Mm-hmm.
um, everything you learn moves you forward.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm pretty sure I've said this in some of my other interviews, but every time you go through one of these periods, when you come out, it's so much better. You're so much stronger. Um, and you really feel like I feel a physical shift.
Mm.
And it's a great feeling, you know and it's different every time. so
Yes.
so there's no way to say, oh well, last time I did this, because
Mhm.
it's different. You're growing differently. You're
Yes.
growing bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
when you grow bigger, you need more support. You need, like when you think about, you buy this little plant, it's a little tiny, you water it, just a little bit. As it gets bigger, you water it more, and now you're giving it food, and then it needs, it needs that stick to support it. So every time you go through one of these periods, you're growing and you're shedding. And remember your basics. Like,
Yeah.
remember, like, it's not a bit like, I made it such a difficult thing. I made it so big. I gave it so much power, when just the basics I learned early on, the awareness, look at the evidence, just stop feeding it. That's
Mm-hmm.
like, and that doesn't require a lot of thinking or a lot of effort, or I've got a script for 5 hours, or I have to go take a walk, or I have to do this. No, it's just in the moment, right there,
Mm-hmm.
just right there.
Yes.
So just please, everybody, just remember those basics, because they will guide you and they will help you get out of there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that you did this, but I want to see, because were you trying to figure out why you were having this problem?
Yeah, it was a lot of it was a lot of feeling sorry for myself.
Mm-hmm.
It was feeling like, oh, I did all this big manifesting and now nothing's happening. Everyone else is manifesting. I'm not. Poor me. Oh, it's got to be because XYZ. And then, you start, I start thinking, no, 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 this is just something I'm going through. I'm growing, blah, blah, blah. Like, I was just not appreciating what I had done, where I was, and what was about to happen, like what I was going to learn, that there was going to be a payoff after this. I disconnected, Cassie.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
100% unplugged from the work and the process and the belief. I totally just cut that cord.
Mm.
And I think, I was tired. Like I was just weary of being in that space and didn't have the energy to get back on track. And then again, you and I talked about, filling the tank and doing that with scripting. And I was just so resistant to doing that. And, the resistance is because I'm going to grow,
Right.
like
Yeah.
it makes total sense now, but I
Mhm.
was going to grow and I didn't want to for whatever reason, like that. I had that belief that this was it for me, that
Yeah.
and anything after that was going to be hard work and but in the end, I got the support I needed, and I really feel that I gave myself the permission to say
Mhm.
that that's done, and now we're moving forward.
Yes. Yes.
Just simply moving forward.
Mhm.
Just move.
Yes,
Like I
right?
feel
Just
like I
move.
was a turtle. Like you're trying to nudge me to go, and I'm like, nah,
Mhm.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go. But
Right.
now I'm like, oh no, look, there's some grass over there. Let's go munch on some grass because it feels good. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, the sky is blue. Yeah, I
Yeah.
hope that answered your question.
Yeah, it did, and I think it's helpful for everyone listening, right?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
it's just that place, and it's just as easy to plug right back in by doing the things, right? Just
yeah,
finding one things or becoming just even aware of, oh, like I'm starting to say this and I don't want that to be true, and really just going back to some of those basics.
absolutely,
Yeah.
100%. And I see that now.
Right.
Like hindsight,
Mhm.
100% 2020. I see it now. So that's again why I wanted to talk about it, is, if it can help someone who's in the space, or, who's feels like they're approaching that space, just
Mhm.
remember your basics.
That's right.
Yeah.
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 And choose yourself. Like make that
Yes. Oh,
commitment.
choose
Right.
yourself.
Uh,
And however you want to communicate that, how, maybe
mhm.
I choose me doesn't work for you, something else. Like I
Mhm.
honor myself, or, whatever it is that works for you. But for me, it was I choose me, and claim your worthiness. It is yours, all of it.
Mhm. It's so good to hear you this week.
I know. Wow.
Always willing to go stand in the mud um,
Yeah.
with my clients, but I much prefer this space. It's so much more fun.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I'd rather have fun than be sitting in the mud, that's for sure.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much for sharing your story and this part of your journey, and really for choosing to choose you, because that means I still get to play with you. So I really am thankful for that.
Well, you know what? Again, like I said, this is a two-way street.
Hmm.
You guide me. I do what I need to do to, step into my future self and to be the person I need to be. So, I'm grateful that that you subtly threatened to cut me off. Jeez Louise, that was the kick in the butt I needed. So thank you, Cassie.
You are welcome.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Yep.
so good. Anything else you want to share today?
No, just, you know what, I'm so happy to be here. I'm very blessed to have, gone through everything I've gone through that's gotten me to this place, and I'm so happy that I get to share this with everyone, and just believe in yourself, and again, just claim that worthiness.
I love it. Thank you all for listening. Definitely choose yourself and claim your worthiness. We will be back in a couple weeks, couple months with Carrie-Ann's next interview. But make sure to check out next week's Year of Growth interview, and we'll talk again good soon. Bye.
Thank you for joining us on The More Money Show. To learn the step-by-step process to welcome more money into your life, go to manifest10k.com.